Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest on the Beginner's Mind series today is only 14 years old, and she already has a very popular YouTube channel, which she started at the age of 12. Her channel is called Lively Life and currently stands at 140K plus subscribers at the time when most people are students themselves and not very good at being a student also. Our special guest today, Adrija Biswas, is not only been a topper and a fantastic student all the way through, but is also a tutor. And she teaches English and other skills on her YouTube channel. She's a resident of a small town called Raiganj in West Bengal, and she's always loved studying since her childhood. We need to figure out how, because a lot of parents out there and a lot of children out there want to know, how come are you so much in love with learning and how focused you are and how you're able to produce all these results? In her childhood, her books were her toys, and playing actually meant reading and teaching for her. Sometimes she taught her mother, sometimes her father. Currently, she studies in class 9th, and she has a total of 17 Olympiad Gold Medals, including 4 zonal medals at the moment. She also achieved the first position in National Young Teachers Award, which was given to her by an organization called WASM. From nursery to class 9th, she has always been a class topper all the way through, and she studies not because she has to, but because she loves to. And she's uploading all these fantastic videos on YouTube, which has now become her hobby. Please put your hands together to welcome our special guest today, Adrija Biswas. Adrija, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so grateful to have a wonderful chat with you today.
Yeah, looking forward. I think one of the first things I would like to begin with, Adrija, is tell us about the early childhood influences that made you the person that you are, at a young, tender age of 14 at the moment. What things in your environment, maybe in the parenting or in your own natural outlook towards life, what drew you to learning so much and to teaching and to starting your YouTube channel?
So everything actually happened gradually. Of course, my parents are the only thing that has actually, I am over here for my parents. They are the one who inspires me the most. And actually, this YouTube journey is so unexpected. Like, I never thought of having a YouTube channel with this many subscribers. I actually started making YouTube videos during the age of, I don't know, I read in class 2. So that time I used to make dance videos and then science and maths videos. So all with teaching, because I always loved this teaching, because when I'm reading something and I can share the knowledge with someone, and someone is gaining knowledge from whatever I have taught them, and this was so unique to me, so special to me from the very young age, that I love this concept of YouTube. And my parents also helped me a lot. They bought me a whiteboard. They told me to keep going. And so that is how I started it. It was nothing, I just wanted to teach. That is all. And so, yeah, here I am.
Oh, fantastic. I think it deserves a round of applause. You're an inspiration for so many, and so many parents will now have a difficult time telling their children not to start their YouTube channel, because they'll give you an example. Look at Adrija. She started a YouTube channel and she's so popular. My daughter, in fact, is 10 years old, and she's been after my life. She's fond of singing, and she wants to do her own singing videos and all that. And I've been telling her, hold on, sweetie, maybe a couple of years more until you grow up enough. But your testimony there, Adrija, that it's never too early, right? It's never too early. And what you just said, that you did not start out with the intention of becoming popular on YouTube.
No.
You started with the intention of, I have something to share and I want to go share it.
That's right.
Yeah. In fact, I put out a video the other day which goes something on this lines. The title was called Unintentional Side Effects. And my journey also started, it wasn't intentional. I want to be popular on YouTube. It was to market my services as a motivational speaker. One thing leads to another. So I think for all the content creators out there, especially the message, very important takeaway here. You got to do things. You got to try things. And it doesn't always have to, you don't always need to have the clarity of how you will get the result, for what sort of result you will get from something, but you must try new things. Tell us about the first video that you uploaded. Which one was it? How were you feeling at that point of time? How did the video do? And tell us about the very first video, Adrija.
Sure. I'd like to actually talk about my first educational video because probably there were a lot of music videos and some other things.
All right,
So
sure.
my first educational video was of digestive system.
Okay.
I uploaded that when I read in class 3, and that was just so bizarre. I mean, that day I came from school and my parents actually had bought a whiteboard
Okay.
and some pens. Because I love to teach, I used to teach these imaginary students in my home. So they had bought me a whiteboard and I was too excited. I have got a real board. And they told me that, would you like to upload a video on YouTube? You can. A lot of real people are going to see you.
Right.
So I was too excited about this. And that time I had a good concept. I had a good grasp on the good digestive system. So I thought of making a video about it.
Wow.
Well, it did go well. If I think about how young I was, it did go well for that. I just explained a little bit and everything, and I had to do 2 takes. Like first, it didn't go so well, and then again, I did the entire video and I uploaded that. And actually, the main thing was when I uploaded it, after a few days, it started to gain views, and I was it is so stunned. My young mind couldn't actually think that somebody is going to look at me, somebody is going to see me as a teacher.
Right.
And then comments started coming that, you teach so wonderful, you're so cute, you're so young, how are you teaching? And these are the motivations that I get all the time. Like, I never thought I would be teaching someone. I used to teach imaginary students, and now, like, people can see me from all over the world. That is the magic of YouTube.
Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. And it brings it brings you to a worldwide platform where people who are interested in that subject can log in. So that's a wonderful story there. Talk to us about how did from publishing videos on digestive system, and now you're very popular for English. Helping youngsters learn English. How did that transition happen? Was it intentional again, or again by an accident? I mean, how did it move from general educational videos to more specifically on how to learn English and improve communication skills, etc.?
It was never intentional. If I am going to tell my young self, that you are going to make videos on YouTube, I'm not going to believe that, because every time I thought science is my favorite subject, so I love to teach science, and that is how I made them. But suddenly I started uploading these conversations on YouTube, English conversations, and that started from just this October. So it's really a short span of time I'm making videos on English. But then I saw that people were accepting me a lot on this.
Right.
So actually the thing that came to my mind is that I learned English. I didn't have to struggle a lot while learning English. So I can see that people are struggling a lot while trying to speak in English. So why not I tell them my journey and how did I learn that? How did I learn? If it can help someone, then of course I'm going to feel very glad that my journey had helped someone to learn English. So that is how I started making these videos, and now I'm actually focused on making English videos only.
Which is great, and people love them, and they see them in my recommendations. You're popular on that subject, very popular. And let me also give you a compliment. You have wonderful, very good command, not only over the language, but also the choice of your words and your diction and how to put your ideas into words. Great job there, I think, and great source of inspiration for millions across India, across the Indian subcontinent, other parts of the world, Philippines, Africa, wherever viewers are watching this conversation or logging into the podcast. I think you're such a source of inspiration there. And the fact that you also enjoy not only teaching, but also developing yourself in the process as well. It's always a two-way thing, and that's the beauty of it. As you are learning, you are sharing what you're learning with other people. So I think I'll just pause here and reflect on what you just said about your parents encouraging you to upload that first video, telling you that they're going to be real people out there. I think uh, my regards to your parents as well for being able to spot this talent in you, because a lot of times we parents can be so busy and we follow the same old track. We do not recognize certain streaks of brilliance that the child already might have. Recognize that brilliance. I think that's a message for all the parents there. Recognize the brilliance in your child, which could be very different from what you have in mind. You may want your child to excel at UPSC or crack the IIT exam tomorrow or do something like that. But hey, you know what? Your child might be the next big poet, the next big Rabindranath Tagore, the next big painter, the next big writer, next big thinker. So you have to do two things. A, not burden them with your dreams. That's very important. Sometimes parents make that mistake. They burden their kids with their own dreams. Oh, I wanted to do IIT myself. I couldn't crack IIT. Now you have to do IIT, right? And the second is that they don't recognize in the process of making their child someone else. वो जब अपने बच्चे को कुछ और बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, अपने जैसा बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, they have their own vision of how my child should be. In the process of creating that vision, they forget what they already have, what the natural talents the child has come with. Dr. Howard Gardner is an author who, is a researcher who published the theory of multiple intelligence, and that he divided intelligence into 9 different categories. In fact, we created a video on that because we wanted to share with youngsters that intelligence is not only just getting good marks in examinations. What you excel at is something that he called linguistic intelligence. Dr. Howard Gardner classified that as linguistic intelligence, the ability to be good at languages and words and learning and the art of communication, oratory, and things like that, and public speaking. Some kid might be very good at interpersonal intelligence, or existential intelligence, or numerical intelligence, analytical intelligence. There's different kinds of intelligence. And as teachers and as parents, we must recognize that. So if your parents wouldn't have spotted that strength area in you, your desire to be a teacher, you probably would not be doing what you're doing today. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. It all goes to my parents. Whatever I'm right now, everything is because of my parents.
Wow. So I think we should give them a round of applause for your parents. To Mr. and Mrs. Biswas. And also, message to all other parents also is that you've got to be, without being overbearing, without forcing your opinion on your kids, you have to be like the coach, And you know what a good coach does, Adrija? A good coach tries to draw out what is already within the player or within the person. So we all come to this planet with different gifts. And we must we must get good coaches. For all of us who are lucky, if we've excelled in life, we had a good coach somewhere, whether in the classroom, whether at home, whether at workplace, somewhere or the other. Okay, talk to us about your love for language. How did this blossom? You said, a lot of kids who do not go to English medium schools in this country, who do not have access to, the resources that you and I have access to. They struggle in learning with English. But you said it came naturally to you. The language came naturally to you. You learned it well, and here you are. You're now teaching it to others. Talk to us about your love for language and what drew you to it. What made it easy for you, Adrija?
Okay, so actually here I'd like to say that whenever we are learning our mother tongue, my mother tongue is Bengali. Whenever we are learning our mother tongue, we do not really need to, we learn it just like that during 1 year or 2 years old. So why not learn a language like that? My love for language is that I love the fact that, when we are learning a language of a country, we can actually know a lot of things about that country, the culture and everything. And whenever we learn a country's language, at that time, whenever we go to that country, then actually we would not face any problem. So this is the art of language. Like, it's so good, it's so diverse. Everything is just so diverse about it. And right now, I don't know a lot of languages, only English, Bengali, and Hindi. But I would love to learn some other languages like Spanish, French, and a lot others. So I think learning languages, if you take it as not learning a subject, not
Mm.
studying something,
Hmm.
it is
Hmm.
going to sound a lot more easier. It is
Right.
a lot more easier.
Yeah. I think what you said there makes a lot of sense that don't approach learning language as learning another subject. When you approach it as learning another subject, there is certainly more pressure on you to be correct all the times, right? So you're now thinking, oh, grammar or pronunciation or other rules, and your mind is overburdened with so many rules. The thing is, when, as you rightly said, if you end up being in a foreign country where you don't speak the language, you will figure out a way to make yourselves understood. You will use sign language, you will use whatever, but it'll take hard work, but you'll be able to communicate. So, if you approach learning any new language from that easy, playful sort of thing, I think it's a lot easier, as you rightly said. As I recall, some of the early influences that helped me a lot, because we also get a lot of questions, around this subject. How did I improve my English? How did I learn my communication skills? So, when we were young, we did not have the internet. There's a period of time, it is called BG, before Google. We did not have internet. We did not have Google. We did not even have cable TV. We had no Netflix, no iPads, no nothing. So, Reader's Digest, there was this magazine called Reader's Digest. My father had subscription to that. So that one magazine I would get every month, and I would look at it and I would read it and try to make sense of it. And then the Tribune, which was this English daily newspaper, we had subscription to that as well. So I think these small little things early on in your life, including what do you have access to, what is the environment at home like, how much efforts your parents are putting in, right? How many opportunities are you getting to express yourself, to speak in that language, whether at school or with friends or other places? These are all the small things that really add up. Adrija, from your, from the amazing accomplishment that you've made at a very young age, I'm sure there's millions of young kids out there in the Indian subcontinent and the other parts of the world who love to learn English and who want to improve their communication skills. What are your top tips and top tricks and top suggestions for these youngsters so that they can be as fluent and as expressive as you are?
Okay, so first, don't take learning English as a like a struggle. Don't think
Mm-hmm.
of it that I'm struggling in learning English, because if you think one time that you will never be able to speak in English, you won't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give certain tips by which I learned English.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, these all things. Don't think about them at first. Okay, just
Mm-hmm.
leave it. I think we all have a basic set of words in us, English words. Start speaking with that. The
Mm-hmm.
first thing that is needed is listening and then speaking, because
Right.
we all learn our mother tongue by listening to our parents and then
Agree.
by trying to speak it.
Mm-hmm.
So why not try to learn English in the way we learned our mother tongue? So listening, you can actually entertain yourself while listening to English. We watch movies,
Mm-hmm.
we listen to songs. So why not listen to them in
Mm-hmm.
English? Listen to
Mm-hmm.
motivational speeches in English. So
Mm-hmm.
listening is actually very, very important, but
Mm-hmm.
speaking is also important. So for that, you need to keep yourself in an English environment.
Mm-hmm.
An English environment is very much necessary if you want to speak fluent English. So
Mm-hmm.
first, probably you will feel that it is quite hard to speak English. So first try to speak in short sentences, and then soon you need to have consistency, because it actually takes a lot of time to learn a
Mm-hmm.
language. So consistency is a must. So for this, listening and speaking should be done like every day, each and every day. We know
Mm-hmm.
our mother tongue. We are actually speaking it so fast because we have a consistency. We
Mm-hmm.
are literally speaking it all the time. So that is what we need to do when we are learning another language, whether it is English or any other. So, and then if you are like, if you want to know about grammar, you can, but during the time of speaking, I don't think one should think about the grammar, because the rules will always come to your mind, like for subject, verb, and
Mm-hmm.
object, so everything, and then to form the sentence, it takes a lot of time. You will not get that fluency.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
just speak whatever you want. I think people should just speak whatever they like, because language is just an expression of words. So that
Mm-hmm.
is why we are learning English, to express ourselves.
I loved what you said earlier. Language is just an expression of words. I really like that. That's a very profound statement. And so, to everybody who's tuning in, who is tuned into this conversation to improve either their grasp on the English language or their communication skills, I think the message is very simple yet very profound, very powerful, which is this: language is just a medium to express what you're feeling. And you could do it well in Hindi, you could do it well in Bengali, in Punjabi, in Marathi, in Urdu, or in English for that matter. So, first of all, we need to level the playing ground, right? So, take a deep breath in. Everybody who's joined in, take a deep breath in and remind yourself, I will level the playing ground. And you can type this in the comments as well. I will level the playing ground, which means don't put English out there on a pedestal just because it's a European language, right? Or a language that you're not familiar with. Don't put it higher up than other languages. There are many languages which are way more complex than English, for that matter, right? So you don't have to put this language on a pedestal up here. You are not being judged on your English speaking skills, your self worth as a human being. आप एक इंसान के किरदार में क्या कर सकते हैं, कैसे कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं, कैसे दुनिया की सेवा कर सकते हैं, ये इसकी तुलना इस चीज़ से नहीं की जा सकती कि आपकी इंग्लिश कितनी अच्छी है, राइट? The decision of how good a human being, how intelligent a person you are, this decision cannot be made solely based on your English language skills. And so don't put this language on a pedestal, level the playing ground, which means make it as approachable as Hindi, English, Punjabi, Urdu, Marathi, Bengali, right? And then play with it. It's very important to play with it, to lose that self-consciousness. I often see when I go to places like, have you traveled to Amritsar, Adrija, visited the Golden Temple or Wagah border?
No, I haven't, but
No.
I'd love to visit there because I've seen so many pictures of Golden Temple and I know
Right.
it looks so majestic.
Well, thank you. And you should come. And what I see when I travel to maybe either the Golden Temple or the Wagah border, and I see a lot of foreign tourists there. And when they are out enjoying maybe the aloo parantha or the local food delicacies, and they try to speak in Punjabi or they try to speak in Hindi, there is very little self-consciousness there. So, they'll just say whatever they have to say, even if they sound funny. And usually other people laugh at them, right? Because in their broken Punjabi or Hindi. And understand this. If you become comfortable and you become playful with this, आपको इसका ये जो शर्म नहीं लेके चलनी है कि मेरा एक सेंटेंस गलत हुआ तो मैं बेकार हूँ, नहीं, that's wrong. That's a wrong way to approach this. You mess up one or two sentences, that does not mean that you're not intelligent enough to learn the language, or etc. etc. So this is what has to be kept in mind. Be playful about it, level the playing ground, and experiment with it. And then there are going to be situations when you will embarrass yourself, you will mispronounce words, you will be using incorrect grammar, as Adrija rightly said. Take that burden off your shoulders. Vocabulary, pronunciation, etc. etc. Take it off your shoulders. Ask a foreigner, a European person, or a Singaporean, or wherever they're traveling from, when they're speaking Hindi, Urdu, Marathi, are they putting so much stress on themselves to be correct? To be grammatically correct? No. They just want to convey what they're feeling. They want a glass of water, they'll say in their broken Hindi, "Mujhe pani glass do." However, वो अपना sentence बना के they'll put it across, right? They don't care about rules at that stage. आपको भी वही करना है. At the first stage, you don't have to obsess about the rules so much. You must learn to go with the flow and see where that leads you. My next question, Adrija, is one which is a problem for many youngsters. How to focus, given the fact that you guys have so many distractions, way more distractions than our generation ever used to. Our only distraction used to be go out in the streets and play, right? And what else? Kite flying and things like running around, take my bicycle, go elsewhere. Video games were launched when I was in grade 8th or 9th, and we had very simple video games back then. Mario Brothers and Contra and so many. You probably might not even heard of these video games. But now, for your generation, it's a huge challenge to focus. Given the fact you have Insta Reels and TikTok and so many other things happening. And what you call that video game, PUBG, right? How do you focus? Tell us first about yourself, and then what suggestions would you like to other people of your age, other youngsters of your age, or even of my age, who might be struggling with sitting down and focusing on the task at hand?
Sure. So here for focusing, the most important thing that I feel is time management,
Hmm.
because we have 24 hours in a day, and like 8 hours we sleep for 8 hours, and the rest of the hours are all ours, so we can actually utilize them in the best way possible.
Hmm.
Entertainment is necessary, but I think the time management is a must, because
Hmm.
I have seen a lot of teenagers of my age in my school, probably they have like such an addiction to video games.
Hmm.
So video games, if you want, you can play video games, but there should be a fixed time. I'm going to play for 15 minutes,
Hmm.
I'm going to play for half an hour, and
Which
not
is the
more
hard
than
thing
that.
to do.
So this should be in mind. Time
Hmm.
management has to be there. You are just sitting with your phone and you are playing and playing for 2 hours, you're watching Netflix for 2 hours. It's not going to work like that. We need to utilize the internet, the thing that we have got, that probably our previous generation did not get. We need to
Hmm.
utilize it and not
Hmm.
use it to actually distract us with
Hmm.
what we are doing.
Hmm.
So time management is important, and for focus, I'd like to say, let me talk about speaking in English, improving
Hmm.
English.
Hmm.
So we can focus on actually what we like. For example, when I am reading a storybook,
Hmm.
so I just read one word, I just read a sentence, and I get focused completely. I don't care whatever anyone is telling. I'm just focused on that, on the plot.
Right.
But suppose I'm not liking, I don't want to read a
Yeah.
science book probably sometime. So that time, even if I try a lot to focus, I can't. This
Hmm.
happens a lot, not only to me, to everyone.
Hmm.
So whatever you are learning, try to make it your hobby. It is actually works a lot, because
Hmm.
you can focus more easily on something that you like to do, that you want to do all the time. So speaking in English, try to make this as a hobby. For that, you need to keep yourself entertained. Okay, make this language learning an entertainment process.
Hmm.
Watch movies, as I said, make this an entertainment process, so that you can be focused. You can focus on whatever you are doing. So that is all.
Hmm. No, I think some very valid points there that you mentioned. Time management. Whenever time management is messed up, that's when we panic the most. So for I think with the basic discipline of just creating blocks of activities. For some of the young people, this might be too early to comprehend this or to apply this, but I think it's pretty simple. If you divide I got 3 hours in the morning, I'm going to study and that's it. I got two in the evening and I'll do Netflix. I have that series to watch and I've watched that in the evening. And then don't mix up the two. Don't say, okay, I'm going to study 45 minutes and then watch Netflix for another 45 minutes. Divide them, make sure they're apart. I think that's one thing. If I may also add, what might help is if you find that you don't have the self discipline yet to manage your own time, to put that device away or to switch off the TV, get help, which means just delete those apps if you have to, right? If you have to, just go give that remote control to somebody else in the family and say, hey, I'm finding it hard to stay away from Netflix, and just keep it away. It's like if you feel that it's come to a level that it's now become an addiction, maybe it's a good idea to stop it completely for some time and then build that muscle of self-discipline, build that muscle of where you know how much time you want to budget, and then come back to it. It's a huge challenge. The Always I recommend, it's a poor idea if you want to focus and do well at any activity. It's also important to minimize your distractions. Go into an area where you will have minimal distractions, minimal outside sound. Put on headphones, noise cancelling headphones if you have to. Go into a silent room, and then make sure that if you're getting interrupted by notifications again and again on your phone, you probably will not be studying very well. So maybe put it into the airplane mode for the next 2 hours, or next 90 minutes for that matter, 1.5 hour. Put it in the airplane mode, study what you have to study, finish it, come back outside, take a break, go check your social media, do things you have to do, and go back into it again. So that way you learn to manage until you develop the self discipline. Maybe the airplane mode is a very helpful device for you. What are your thoughts on that? Have you ever used it?
Yes, distractions, like you say, deleting games. I have done that. After
Mm-hmm.
exams, sometimes after the main exams, probably I downloaded a game. But
Mm-hmm.
then, when again a new class started, I would delete it. Even it was so hard to delete an app. It was so hard to delete a game that I was playing for a whole
Mm.
month. But
Hmm.
you must do that, because
Hmm.
that actually video games and all these are too many distractions. Sometimes you can't actually focus on whatever you are doing because of these. So
Right.
it is hard, but you need to do that sometimes.
Agree, agree. And some of these games and these series and Netflix, they're designed to be addictive. They are designed to hook you.
Mm.
There's millions of dollars in research going in to figure out how to make you come back, how to stop you doing other things and come back and watch the next episode of that next Netflix series, or how to hook you so that you come back and you want to play the next level of the game. So some of these things have been designed by corporations, by engineers, by psychologists to hook you. So if you find that you're too young, too immature to at the moment to escape this, maybe just delete it. Maybe have it on a different device. I think that that's always a very helpful thing for in any situation, is to, if you can't control it, move away from it until you figure out how you want to control it. So that's very important here. So talk to us about what sort of books do you like reading, Adrija? What's on your reading list at the moment?
Actually, I love to read every genre. Whatever you're going to give me, books are
Mm.
my life. So
Mm-hmm.
anything, whether it is study books, whether they are novels, I am
Mm-hmm.
mostly a fan of fiction,
Okay.
fantasy.
Right.
I love reading them.
Uh-huh.
I also love mystery books sometimes, as well as some other small books that, for example, The Alchemist, then Diary of
Uh-huh.
a Young Girl, and other
Uh-huh.
books and series as well.
So I must ask you this, because there are workshops happening in this country right now to help youngsters to fall in love with reading again, right?
Hmm.
Somehow youngsters, they did not, the relationship between youngsters and books did not last very long, and now they headed in different directions. Young people don't like reading anymore, and they're more hooked towards audiovisual formats, right? So talk to us about, was this natural? What happened? How did you pick up your first book? How did you get hooked onto books and not to social media, not to reels or some other thing?
So because right now a lot of things goes on, like for parents I'm basically telling this, that
Mm-hmm.
probably they want to relax a bit, so they are going to give their phones to their
Mm-hmm.
child. Just watch something for now, let me
Mm.
relax. So this is really actually very harmful. My parents never did that to me. I
Okay.
had a bunch of
I
storybooks.
do
They
that
were really
sometimes.
short. Yeah.
Right.
They are really short, and that was also for improving my English, the
Mm-hmm.
storybooks. So
Mm-hmm.
they were really short and easy to understand, and they were pictured. There were a lot of pictures in it, and I loved books from the first day of my life. That is true.
Mm.
So my parents gave me the books, but they never gave me mobile phones or anything to watch.
Mm.
For from my When I was like still 5 years old, I didn't get a chance to look at the mobile phones. They
Mm-hmm.
never did that with me. I used to love to sit with books. I loved books. Whenever I used to wake up in the morning, I wanted a book, otherwise I would cry out. So this
Mm.
was my thing with books.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how I got attracted to books, and now I'm actually addicted to them, and I think it's good to be addicted to books.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the sense that books became your social media. So
Hmm.
how a youngster, any other youngster might be addicted or to social media at the point of time, this point of time, you're addicted to books. And for, let's say, if a child your age is on an average spending 2 to 3 hours on a screen, you're spending probably 3 to 4 hours reading a book. And one of the things, I mean, I'm not against social media. I mean, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation
Hmm.
if it wouldn't be for YouTube and other social media out there. But one of the things that reading a book teaches you is consistency, is the ability to wait, patience, how the plot unfolds, how the characters develop,
Hmm.
and how the storyline is moving forward, and for you to stay with it and to learn from it, as opposed to the very short span, which is encouraged by short format videos such as Reels and YouTube Shorts, etc. I was on a flight the other day and I saw this similar situation, what you mentioned. So that the child wouldn't be cranky, the parents handed over their phone to the kid. The plane had not taken off yet, still had 4G coverage, and so he was on to YouTube Shorts, I believe. This kid was not even watching a 90-second movie completely, a 90-second clip completely. He would watch it for 20 seconds and move on to the next one. And the next one he'd watch again for 20, 30 seconds and he'd move on. So if the format has been reduced to 90 seconds, there are kids out there who are not even watching the 90 seconds fully. They just watch it for 20 seconds and then move on. And I think one of the biggest damage that can happen over a period of time to our brains is our ability to concentrate, is our ability to wait as the plot of life unfolds, as so many things happen, so many things change. We want everything to happen very, very quickly, and that's really a problem there. Books teach you patience. Books teach you this sort of critical thinking develops in your head. So if you're at this chapter right now, what could be happening maybe a few chapters ahead, and you're sort of planning all these different scenarios, as opposed to Netflix is going to create that scenario for you on screen, and your brain doesn't do any hard work at all. In the case of a book, you are building those scenarios in your head, complete with the special effects, the sounds, the feelings, the emotions, right? And in Netflix, they are creating those things and giving it to you. So which means your brain's ability to manufacture these images and create these sounds reduces over a period of time. So reading has a huge advantage. And as I said earlier, I'm not against social media, but reading has a huge advantage in terms of strengthening your critical thinking, your vocabulary for that matter. And I think it's obvious from your case, Adrija, that your love for reading has helped you enhance your thinking, your clarity of thoughts. And this I must tell all the youngsters who are watching right now. Clarity is a superpower. Let this be your next affirmation, please. Deep breath in. And remind yourself, I will make clarity my superpower. You can type it in the comments as well. I will make clarity my superpower. In order to speak well, your mind must be clear on what you want to say. In order to write well, your mind must be clear about what you want to put it into your thoughts. In order to live well, your mind must be clear about what your values are. So clarity is a superpower. You got to reduce the confusion there, right? So it's been a wonderful conversation so far, Adrija. We really appreciate your time. Talk to us about your future plans. What do you see yourself doing in the near future?
So basically, my YouTube has turned into my hobby right now at this moment. And I always wanted to be a teacher. I love teaching. And right now, I'm actually doing it. So my wish has been fulfilled. And I love science. My favorite subject is probably science. And I'm going to go in that stream. But whatever profession I'm in the future, I don't care. I'm going to continue with my YouTube channel. I'm always going to stick to it because I actually love making these videos. And whenever I'm not thinking about it, because I'm always thinking about how can I make the new video at school, at my home, every time. So if I do not have my YouTube channel, I cannot imagine what will I do at my free time. So that is what my YouTube channel has turned into. So whatever I'm doing, I'm going to continue with my YouTube forever.
Fantastic. You're a committed YouTuber, and guys, go out and subscribe to youtube.com/livelylife, and we will share the link in the description as well below. Go out and subscribe to Adrija's channel. She's putting out some wonderful content out there for you, especially those of you who want to improve your English skills and your communication skills. Great content there, very easy to understand. You make it very interesting. You're doing a great job there, Adrija. We thank you so much for it.
Thank you so much.
And before we let you go, what are some of your words of inspiration for young people who are struggling with issues at the moment, who are struggling with, they don't have clarity, they want to do a lot of things, but they hesitate, they're shy, they're probably your age, they have a lot of doubts, they also want to sing their song. And by singing their song, I mean they also want to give expression to whatever creativity is within them, but they hesitate. What would be your message to youngsters and to their parents?
So youngsters means teenagers like me. Teenage is actually a very confusing period. It is, but if we, teenage is I think also a very magical period. So why not use it as a magical period instead of a confusing period, because in teenage life we just get to enjoy our lives, and I know after in adulthood we would not get that time where we can enjoy with our friends. And
Mm-hmm.
teenage is also the time when we are able to understand what are we skilled at.
Mm-hmm.
So actually youngsters who are probably facing this issue, like they don't understand what are they going to do, probably they are not so good at studies,
Mm-hmm.
and they are getting so many peer pressure. They are in a state where everyone is pressuring them to probably crack IIT, probably crack JE or something like that. Try to do whatever you love to do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
stop wasting time, because right now our brain is quite immature, and well,
Mm-hmm.
we think that we are matured. This is
Mm-hmm.
true. So I think you should take yes, that is of course true, and I think we should take the what to say, the advice of some old people. It's not old people, the advice of some people, those, because they have also went through this phase. Everyone has went through this phase of teenager. So take the advices and don't make it so confusing. Everything is actually all right until and unless you tell that it is all right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is actually great. And for parents, I'd like to suggest that try to know whatever your child is capable at, because the parents are the most important things that child ever gets. They are nothing without their parents. I am nothing without my parents. My
Mm-hmm.
parents could understand what I am capable of, and they made me do this. So
Mm-hmm.
parents need to understand what their children are capable of, and not just force them into whatever they like, whatever they would like their children to do. So
Mm-hmm.
this is very important. Don't force them. My parents never forced me on my studies,
Mm.
because if you force them, then they are not going to fall in love with it.
Right.
If you want them to fall in love with studies, then you should not force them at all. From
Mm.
the first stage, from my first day of my life, my parents never forced me. So I actually got this concept that I would learn for fun. I
Mm.
never had any tuitions till
Mm.
now,
Oh wow.
and so that is why I have always took learning as just a fun thing. I play with toys, I learn with books. That is all. So I think every parent needs to make their child understand that learning is not a torture, it's not a struggle. It's
Mm-hmm.
enjoying. Gaining knowledge is actually enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
So you should make it understand, and actually it is great. Studying is great.
Mm-hmm. No, I think those are some great points there. Thank you so much. I think what has come up again and again in this conversation is your emphasis on having fun and approaching subjects and studying in a playful manner. And we will, you know, I think for me, that is the top takeaway. I think for our viewers also, for our listeners also, let that be also your top takeaway, that when you learn with no hard rules or no set intentions, when you learn for the joy of learning, when you learn for the joy of exploration, when you learn for the desire to broaden your mind and your horizon and to see how the world works, that natural curiosity is a great force of nature. Is a great force of nature. Let that natural curiosity drive you forward rather than any sort of pressures. And I think again and again during our conversation today, that one thing has come up. You have mentioned that you always learned not for the sake of learning, not because you had to learn, but because you wanted to learn, because you were curious. And to every young person who's tuned into this conversation, find out what are you curious about, what drives you, what sort of problems would you like to solve, what things do you want to know more about, and then let that curiosity be the source of your exploration, and let your exploration lead to wonderful things, like it has led our young, beautiful, sweet Adrija to creating her own YouTube channel and adding value to the world. Let your curiosity take you also to exciting things. You also have something special inside you. Actually, I want all of you to type that in the comment section. Take a deep breath in and remind yourself, I have something special inside me. I have something special inside me. And now type that in the comment section as well as your affirmation. I have something special inside me. You might have the owner of the next big travel company or space company or organic agriculture company or export company, or you don't know what, you have something special inside you. Let your curiosity take you to your speciality. to whatever your strength is. Adrija, we wish you all the very best for the future. You are a bright star. You have a lot of potential. You've only just started. Young children like you fill me with hope for the future of this country, because I'm confident with people like yourself making bold choices like the ones that you have made, to be a teacher at the age of 14, to start your YouTube channel, to share your knowledge. The future of this country is also very bright because we have bright people like you. We have bright youngsters like you with that immense clarity of mind, immense confidence, immense self-belief. We will do as a nation amazing wonders in the time to come, amazing things. We will show the way to the rest of the world. Once again, this nation will be the guiding light of the entire world, and that is, the credit will go to hardworking youngsters of this nation in all different fields. We thank you so much for your time today. I wish you all the very best on my behalf, on the behalf of all our subscribers on our YouTube channel, on the behalf of all our team here at Cutting Edge. And also, we pay homage and give respect to your parents as well. Mr. and Mrs. Biswas, we give them our utmost respect as well for having nurtured you in the right direction, and for having given you the opportunity to do what you wanted to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me today.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You take care. And keep doing the amazing work that you're doing on your YouTube channel.
Of course, of course. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.